Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're gonna learn what are you playing for February of 2024, and who's playing Marvel Snap with me tonight? Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
I am Joe Butler, and you wouldn't believe what I'm eating in this dungeon.
I'm Blair Farrell from comicbookvideogames.com, and I don't even think I want to know what you're reading in said dungeon.
I am Carson. I am a random guest on here. I'm going to talk Power World and Power World only. I also stream under Desiree Corruption on Twitch, so getting that started off the ground. So come join.
All right.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kody from Night Owl Gaming, and I heard about this podcast on the internet. I heard it's Neato Torpedo.
I hope more people hear. Hey, I make TikToks, well, barely, but I need to make more people listen to it. So as we are here for what we do every month, we do What Are You Playing? As I said at the top of the episode. This is for February 2024, because I have to stick to my normal pattern when I change it. So each month I'm joined by a few friends, and we just talk about whatever the hell we've been up to. And we always started off with the one game that unfortunately no one plays but me that I seem to recruit lately. Marvel Snap. I'm still playing it nonstop every day. Too much. But game's still great. We're currently in the Black Order season. So they added Black Swan, who I don't even know who the hell Black Swan is from the comics. Never heard of her. That's weird to me. Blair, do you know who that character is?
The name rings a bell, but it escapes me at the moment, so I'm going to need a visual aid.
Okay. Let me...
Never heard of him either.
I didn't either.
I think the algorithm's getting to me, Mike, because the other day I was like on YouTube.
The help any? She's pretty. I can put the card. Well, I mean, the picture's terrible that you can see the video. But yeah, I never heard of her. Like, I feel like I know Marvel pretty good. But yeah, she's a season pass card. I'm like, who the fuck is this? And like, I was even dumb enough when I was reading some of the mission base, like, oh yeah, they're like, he's Black Swan. I'm like, who's Black Swan? Even though I already paid the $10 and bought the card, but I had no idea who it was. They're adding Supergiant to the game. Another character I have no idea who she is.
Oh, they're... So, you know, in Infinity War, and Thanos basically had all those generals, and none of them are named, except for Ebony Maw, or he just calls them the Maw. It's like those people.
Okay.
Oh, I think I remember that name.
They switched some of the names because, like, they didn't want to call one of them Supergiant, or they took them out. I can't remember. It's been a while since I watched Infinity War.
Supergiant wasn't, at least the name isn't in there. I don't think the character was either. They did have Colosseum, which is in the game, comes in next week, which I'm buying. Well, not next week you're hearing this, but next week the time of this recording. And then they're also adding Cordius Glaive and Proxima Midnight. They're adding those two, which were in the movie.
Yeah, those are the only two I know. They're
same. I don't read enough modern comics, and I apparently just read DC comics right now for some reason. Because I think DC comics are better, even though I like Marvel characters better. But, yeah, so no, it's fun. I mean, the game gets my money every month more than it should get but I love it. Like yesterday, I was like, oh, I want this variant, but I don't have enough currency. And like, oh, they have a bundle, so I just spent $10. I'm like, what did I just do? So, but I love this game.
I was gonna say it rubs off, Mike. The algorithm gets to me because the other day I was listening to the last What Are You Playing, and I was on YouTube and I got an ad that was like, hey, do you like paying for games but not having people spend a lot of money to cheat and win? Play Marvel Snap, because we have different things every month. And I'm like, God damn it, I just listened to that episode too.
Hey, to be fair, I don't really think it's pay to win. I mean, yes, some of the new cards can be brutally good, but usually they fix the game pretty quickly. They don't let anything that's too good run for too long. So that doesn't, yeah. I mean, like Blob was like a killer card for a little bit, and there was a combo that I took advantage of this because I got Blob, and I was just winning nonstop because he couldn't kill my Blob, and then they fixed it where he's still a good card, but he's not going from he used to, for those that some people understand me, but just kind of give it like basic is you could turn him into like a 50 power, which you cannot beat, and now they capped him at 15. So he's still a very good card, but he can't become the monster he was. So it's better. The game is always changing. They're always updating things. They're always nerfing cards that need it and buffing cards that don't get played. They try to make changes every couple weeks, and it's a good game. I mean, still got me. Yes.
I'll always remember playing the X-Men arcade and getting to the Blob and saying, no one moves.
That's all I've been thinking of since you mentioned the Blob and not being able to move him.
Well, his ongoing is you can't move him too. He also sucks in all the, like, his original ability sucks in every card in your deck and gains their power. Now he just gains up to 15, and then whatever the last card is can put him over that. But Yeah, it's funny. The ongoing is cannot be moved, so they did keep that, even though it's completely useless because nobody's moving anybody's cards that often. Because that's not a good. It's never meta. Moving is not meta in this game ever. It's not a good deck. I mean, it can be good. I've seen people kick ass and move decks against me, but it's complicated. But nobody's doing it.
Yeah, I think I heard or read somewhere that his power, his mutant ability is like he's just a super massive walking black hole that's just super heavy and super balanced. Like that's why he can't be moved.
I guess. But yeah, no, I think the same thing, the X-Men game. But yeah, that kind of anything else. And then Marvel Snap, they had the Planet Hulk season that just ended. That was pretty good. But no, the game keeps being great, and I keep paying to play it every month like an idiot, and I love it. So, play Marvel Snap. I mean, I still think even if you got in now, even though the game's been going on for over a year, I think you could still enjoy the game just fine, and it wouldn't take away if you hadn't been playing this whole time. So that's my Marvel Snap corner. That's enough. And Kody, what is something you've been playing?
Well, I've actually been playing a lot more games lately. I've been starting to. I got scared by Best Buy stopping their carrying of physical videos, or the announcement rather. The Best Buy near me still has videos for some reason, but the things that I've been playing that I think have been really fun is with all this talk about Pal World, I did give it a shot. It's interesting. I don't think it's as like Pokemon as people think it is. I mean, I haven't played like Arceus or the most recent versions of Pokemon, so it may be more like those. But the last Pokemon game I've put time into was Shield, and that was, I don't know, like 2016, 2017. But anyway, in the spirit of Pal World, I decided to play an actual Pokemon-like, and I'm playing Cassette Beasts. Cassette Beasts is it's a 2D pixelated Pokemon game, but instead of Pokemon, you have a tape player, like a cassette player, and the Pokemon are like literal knockoff Pokemon, and you get blank tapes, and you can, okay, can you guys still hear me? My mic indicator turned off. Okay. And so basically, like, to capture, I forgot what they're called. They're like, I'll just say Pokemon. To capture the Pokemon, you write them to a blank tape. And so, like, you lower their power by attacking them, and instead of just having the Pokemon out itself, you turn into the Pokemon. There's a lot of like very weird like anime rules, like way more anime than Pokemon is. Like so people get dropped into this world. You just wash up ashore, and this isn't spoiling anything, but basically you find out that this world is like a world between worlds, and like people don't know how they got there, and nobody's been able to leave. So I haven't gotten very far in the game. I just started it recently, but that's been a lot of fun, and definitely more of a Pokemon-like if, say, Pal World didn't scratch the Pokemon itch that you wanted, and I'd recommend Cassette Beast. It's on Game Pass. I don't know if it's on PlayStation, but I've been playing it on Game Pass.
I've gotten a little further, and I've seen a little bit further in Pal World. That game has a very cool features. Instead of gym battles, they have what is essentially world bosses, and because the game's what would you say, like 16-bit?
Yeah.
Because the game is 16-bit, the bosses are made with different art, if I can describe it without spoiling that much.
Are you talking Pal World or Cassette Beast?
Cassette Beasts.
Okay.
And the one thing that I think is interesting is the music changes depending on what Cassette Beast you have, and later on in the game you basically get it's like a combination of songs, and they also add lyrics. So there's like over 300 songs in the game with like different lyrics and different beats and different mixes.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun game so far. I've been reviewing testing out the Backbone controller for my phone, and I thought, like, hey, if there's a game that's worth playing handheld on Xbox, it'd probably be a Pokemon clone. And it's been pretty fun. It doesn't have like perfect latency with playing wirelessly yet. So like I try to play like turn-based games and stuff like that when I play handheld. But yeah, it's been super fun so far.
I heard about it before, actually. Somebody mentioned it before on one of these episodes, and it looks cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna like stick with it forever, but I'm definitely gonna keep giving it a few more goes, because you can save at any point, which is also awesome. So yes. Like kind of like Pokemon. So Like I can play it while I'm falling asleep and then just like finish a battle and go to sleep, and that's totally great. So just being able to jump in, jump out, pretty easy.
Sometimes that's all you need. Like you need games that will complement your time and respect your time.
Absolutely.
Hey, Kody, do you have to pay anything for the Backbone? Because I've seen it, but I also saw something called like a Backbone Pass or something.
So that is the one thing that I hate about the Backbone controller so far is there is an accompanying app, and it is very pushy about their Backbone subscription service. I have not once tried to so when you set up you have to download the app to set it up. So I created my account and all that, but then it won't let you go into the main Backbone OS without signing up for a sample of their subscription service. And so I have not even once gone into the software, but after that initial setup, it just works. So like I can open up the Xbox app and play my Series X remotely. And the controller just works. It plugs into my phone. They have a Lightning version if you have an older iPhone, and they also have a USB-C version, and it's compatible with both Android and iOS. But you just have to make sure that you get the correct connector for your device.
They also made a piss yellow one for Death Stranding.
Oh, gross. But also another thing that I want to be clear about with this. So there are some boxes that say that it comes with a month of Game Pass Ultimate and 3 months of Apple Arcade. Those are good if you have never had one of those accounts before. So like if you were thinking that you would like I did, I thought, well, hey, this comes with a free month of Game Pass Ultimate. I already pay for Game Pass Ultimate. It'll kind of help comp for the cost of the controller a little bit. No, it doesn't work. It won't let you redeem it if you are a current Xbox Live subscriber.
Yeah, that sucks. I've had that happen sometimes when I get a free month or so from Discord or or YouTube or something for being their Red or Nitro or whatnot. I can't use it since I already have Game Pass, and that sucked when it happened.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's like $100, and it also comes with an adapter. So if you have like a larger phone, like I have a 13 Pro Plus, so it's a little older. It's not like the newest thing, but it is big and it fits my phone totally fine. Yeah, fun.
It sounds cool, other than the fact that like I would not want to have to pay for that. That just sounds annoying. Have to pay to have, but if you don't need to do it to control it, then that's okay. But
yeah, you don't have to use the Backbone app at all. In fact, I recommend staying away from it. Like I don't like signing up for more things than I have to. They also have a white version. So like I got it's not next to me, but I have the black one, and then they also have a white one that I guess is officially sponsored by PlayStation because it has their logos on it. So if you want the black one that looks like an Xbox and has the Xbox font but is not officially licensed by Xbox, or the official PlayStation white one, they both work on any. It's kind of like when you play God of War on PC, you can use your Xbox controller. It's fine.
Okay.
I think my biggest hurdle with all of that is that I perpetually keep my iPhone in an OtterBox because I don't trust myself not to break it.
That's fair.
Getting this out of here, out of the case, is an ordeal. So like for me to have to take off my phone's condom and then basically hook up that controller, it just sounds like too much effort.
I have an OtterBox case. It's one of the thinner ones. You can see it's not really like a bulky OtterBox or anything like that. I have to take it out. I have to take it out of the case.
I don't see your video, Kody, if you're trying to show it.
Oh, well, I was showing it, but it's just kind of one of those like silicone, like, tight wrap case. It's not a thick one like those, I don't know, like an OtterBox or I don't know what other military grade ones you see. But yeah, it doesn't like, I don't know how you could have a much slimmer phone case than this one, and I have to take it off each time. So
because I see a bunch of stuff on Apple Arcade all the time. Like I saw there was that 3D Sonic game that came out, I think it was before Christmas. That's been better than any 3D Sonic game made by Sonic Team. Not that that's overly hard. And there was like a Ninja Turtles game like last summer, and I think it was Phoebe Stanton, Let's Play Princess, and also said there was like a Rayman game as well. And those all sound really cool, but I don't have a Mac, and again, just it's too much work to take off this, or my phone's battery just really crappy now too. So yeah, it just seems like a pain in the ass.
They do. There's another company that makes like a clip where you can just like clip the phone to either a PlayStation or Xbox controller, and then so basically you're just playing with the controller like under the phone. So and I think that clip is like $10, and it's a way cheap because the backbone is $100 as well. So this is $100 thing, or you could buy a $10 clip and just use your Xbox or PlayStation controller or whatever controller you have, as long as it has Bluetooth and can connect to your phone. Basically, Xbox or PlayStation will use it. Remote play is getting super easy, and but you're right. Like having to take your case off every single time, it's so annoying because like I have a wireless charger next to my bed, and so it's like to plug it in to play it, I have to plug it, take it out of the case, plug it into the controller, take it out of the controller, and then put it back into like either into my case and onto the charger or just straight onto the charger, and it's like I have to keep undoing it, and you don't want the the connector to bend when you take it out, so you have to be super careful taking it out of the case and the charger, and it's it's a lot, but it's fine really if annoying. You're looking for, if you don't want to like go for like a Steam Deck or an Ally or something like that. Those are very expensive. If you have a phone, $100, you could do worse.
But I also don't.
I didn't expect to talk about the backbone. I also played Sea of Stars. I cried when a guy died. Like
Sea of Stars looks really good though. Like I'm curious about it.
Yeah, I got a little ways into that, maybe an hour or two, and
it's worth finishing. Carson, if you have more to say about it, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Like I fucking love the game. I ordered the physical version. I think it's I Am 8-Bit. They put out a vinyl record and a physical version. So I went to get the physical myself because I just loved it so much.
What I can say for now is the story is kind of cool. The whole the best friends with the special power going on a trip, like Destiny, whatnot, and and one of their friends who doesn't have it can still tag along and be contributing. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and, Garl, I love Garl. Garl is so cool.
Garl, the game looks. I have not played it, but it looks cool. I'm waiting for it to go on sale.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, I think.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass and PS Plus. It was I think it's the first game to do both day one. Mm-hmm. I think that's the case.
Yeah, and the fighting the battle system I need to get getting used to because some of those timings are tight.
Yeah, you have to pay attention, but it's if you like, so it's turn based. And sometimes there'll be a little timer over your enemies' heads, and that's the number of turns until they attack. So it can help you prioritize like who you should be killing first. And then sometimes there'll be little slots that roll out that if you use certain attacks, you can negate that enemy's attack completely. Yeah. So let's say there'll be like a slug-looking guy, and he'll have a clock with a 2, and there'll be a sun, a sword little image, and a moon. That means if you attack them with the solar magic, lunar magic, and a sword attack, then their attack will be completely canceled. But if you don't get all of them, then it reduces the power of their attack. So you do at least get some benefit from knocking out their little roulette wheel or slots wheel.
Yeah, I might get back to it someday, but
once it goes on sale, I'm picking it up because I really enjoyed Chain Echoes from 2022. So it was like the next game, the next like must-play RPG that people are talking about, and I like indie stuff, so I definitely look forward to playing it. I'm just sad I won't get to see the I can't think of a clever word to say for the completionist won't be in the game anymore, huh? Too bad, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that.
I have to. I find it hilarious.
Yeah,
but. I thought it was funny they patched him out, so I'm like, good for them. I don't like that guy sometimes. Plus, I just find it amusing to find people that are, got famous from YouTube and stuff end up being not good people. So that's all. Joe, what is something you've been playing?
I know 2 games that other people are going to talk about, so I'm probably going to hop on them whenever they play it. Both I've been playing with my partner, so I'm having a different experience with it. So I'm talking about the other game I'm playing with my partner. I'm playing Enshrouded, which is basically just a Soulsborne knockoff survival game. You're basically put in a world where something happened and a bunch of mushrooms took over, and like 90% of the map is covered in the mist, and you only have, I want to say, about 7 minutes to like basically run through the mist because you are, surprise, enshrouded. It's a basic Souls and survival. You have your own base building. It uses snap something. It's the same thing Power World has, where everything snaps together and it's easier to build houses and such like that. And you have to find NPCs and save NPCs from cryogenic chambers, and they add more stuff to the game. So you can do as much as you can, but you have a blacksmith that eventually starts building weapons, and then they also have their own side quest where you can. Like the blacksmith needs to go. You can go find his anvil and go find his smelter, and the more stuff you find for him, the more he gets upgraded and stuff like that. It's very, very survivalist and things like that. It's whatever everybody's playing nowadays. So
okay, that does sound like I stay away from those games.
They're funner with friends because you can either go with like sword and board. You can go that way, and then also go more tank. Or go more into like a bow and arrow. There's a bow and arrow ability you can also have, which I'm also going to. And then my partner also has, because he's a huge Magic fan, he has a bunch of magic abilities he's going for. So he has a wand that shoots out different spells, and there's also a staff that can also be equipped with like lightning or fire, or ice, and healing magic. So he sits there and heals me while I get my ass kicked.
Okay. All right. And Blair, what is a game you've been playing that you reviewed on your website? At least you haven't yet. I know you will be.
Yeah, it's funny because there's so many things now where I'm really behind on doing any work because I'm kind of evaluating what I want to do going forward because my time is getting less and less. And even I do a Game of the Year thing, but I already did your show and I was on the Electric Playground Rockin' and Red Guns talking about Justice League. So that's two things that probably get more views than me spending all this time to do stuff for my website. I was going to go in January, and I know we'll get to the big one, the new one, but I got a new console after I ordered it for my birthday in May of 2023. No, or was it 2022? Yeah, it was 2022.
Damn.
And I got it in December of 2023. And what it is, it's the Polymega. It's from a company called Playmagi. I've seen it on the Electric Playgrounds, the YouTube channel. Essentially what it is, it's a console that's natively out of the box on the standard edition. It runs PlayStation, Sega CD, Sega Saturn, I think TurboGrafx CD, and I'm probably missing one. And it's for all regions. So you basically you can put in your discs and play them natively, or you can put them in and it's basically build a digital library. So what I've been doing, I bought a bunch of Japanese Sega Saturn Marvel fighting games that were never released here or are cheaper because Sega Saturn games are nightmarishly high price in North America. And just all my PlayStation games. And then last year, there's a system you can buy add-on modules. So you can get one for Nintendo or NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and they just put out one for N64, which I got. So you can take off you can slide off kind of one and put in the other. So I think that was what I was most excited about because N64 games are getting harder and harder to play. I know most of the best ones are on Nintendo Switch Online, but I have things like Mischief Makers and Resident Evil 2 and even something dumb like Mortal Kombat Mythologies, which are never getting re-released again. And you just pop them in, N64 games install in seconds. And you can just play them on a regular display via HDMI. It's not the best quality. I know NSO things look kind of sharp. These basically look how they did on the N64, which is not great. And this is just a me thing, me playing Superman, the new Superman Adventures with Nintendo 64 on a 4K TV is pretty, it's worth the price of admission. I know my fiance ordered me the Genesis version. I think that one's coming soon.
I was going to ask if that console that you were discussing earlier was that modular console. I've been really curious about that. Is it super easy to change out the modules, or how far have you gotten into it?
There's just a button and you hold it in and slide it out and then slide in the new ones. And then it's compatible with a lot of controllers. So I have a wireless Sega Saturn Retrobit controller. I have a wired one. It works with the PlayStation 1 controller that comes with the PlayStation 1 Classic. I have I don't remember the name of it because I have the Brawler 64. It's those brands. And I basically tricked it into getting, I tricked it into getting that to work. The base controller is not great. the triggers or the buttons don't feel the best. But the N64 module comes with a controller. That's okay. But I have the Brawler 64, which is my go-to. Most of my library has gone in. I don't know why. It reads X-Men Mutant Academy 2, but it won't install it. And then I sent a ticket to the company, but I don't think they got it. I'm going to follow up on it. I think they're getting everything straightened up now. But if you have it's a great system if you have a big library, but it's not something I would recommend if you're only now getting into buying old games, which are obscenely expensive. Because the thing about all these old games now is that it's getting harder and harder to play them because as displays evolve and things wear out, and even I have a CRT TV next to me, and my N64 doesn't work. So to have all of my games in there and have something like I finished Diddy Kong Racing just because I could, because I love that game. I guess the other big one, which I think needs some love, is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. And I understand, I know, I think some of the numbers came out and they're not great. And I understand why. Because I've kind of been burnt out on Ubisoft games and their house style of just basically making one game and reskinning it. It's here's Far Cry, here's Assassin's Creed, here's a giant map with a bunch of stuff on it. And then they also drop price really fast. I think the Avatar game, which they released in December, dropped price already. But it's really great. I love I'm not saying I've been a Prince of Persia fan since the first one. My first Prince of Persia game, probably a lot of people, is Sands of Time. And that's one of my favorite games of all time. I love that trilogy and the spin-off that came out, and even 2008. So this is it's literally Metroid, and it's better than some of the recent Metroids. I know this is my controversial hot take. I think Metroid Dread is trash. I hate that game.
That's a controversial take.
I hate the Emmy things. I hate the bosses.
Fair. To add to that, I got Dread because I have not been into too many of the 2D Metroid games, but I heard a lot of stuff about how great it was, and I think I played it for 15 minutes, and I was just I'm not meant for 2D Metroid.
And
game's hard as hell.
Prince of Persia has some of those I know, I'm in the minority because I know that game sold really well and people love it, but I don't like the integration of Soul-style combat into everything. If I'm playing a Metroid game, the action comes from the movement and the controls. I don't need to have to parry, perfectly parry the smallest little thing I just would have shot as an annoyance in Metroid 2 on the Game Boy. And learning these complicated patterns, especially after playing the Metroid Prime remaster last year, where the bosses are these are puzzles, not these tense one-on-one battles. And that's probably my least favorite part of The Lost Crown, is that has a lot of that too. The start of it, it's you have to learn how to parry, and then you get to these boss battles, and if you miss something or they hit you, it's basically watching an episode of Dragon Ball Z where you basically have to watch for 45 seconds this animation play out, and it's okay, I got hit, I get it. But then once you get out of that and you get the powers and start exploring the map, it's just so much fun. You get kind of an ability to phase things in and out, and you can, if you listen to the Player One podcast, the Kamehameha and double jump that you get later on, and the air dash, you're combining all of these things, and I just couldn't put it down, which is something that I haven't said about Ubisoft games since Rayman Origins.
It looks great. I really want to play it. I'm just waiting for a sale.
Yeah, and that's the bummer thing. I think a lot of people are saying that too, and then I hate the glib comments of, it's an indie game. It's but y'all paid $100 for Metroid Dread, and it's better than that.
If you want, you can get their Game Pass, Ubi Plus, whatever it is, to play it.
I'm also a cheap bastard, so I can't play anything new. I only play old stuff.
I get that, but I fear the message is going to be, we put out this excellent game that reviewed really well, and then it's like Guardians of the Galaxy over again, where someone puts out this excellent game and everyone says, I don't want to play that, I'm not going to buy it, and then a month later it drops prices, no one bought it, and then the comments on social media are, oh, this is great. Why didn't anybody tell me it was great? And it's like, everyone told you it was great.
It was great. That
and you
game
didn't
is
buy
great.
it. And it has Midnight Suns, and I think it's going to happen to this in 4 months' time. Everyone's going to buy it for $20, and they're going to say...
I got Guardians of the Galaxy for free on the Epic Game Store. They put it up for free.
Yeah.
The same week we recorded about it. It was wonderful.
As much as I hate to admit it, working at my current job at GameStop, I think it'll do fine. I think Prince of Persia will be fine. I haven't had that game since it came out. I've had people come into the store asking for that game, and me just being like, just fucking buy it for your fucking console. Like, I think we got a copy in. A dude literally walked in and went, "Hey, I saw that you have a copy of Prince of Persia. Can I have it?" And I was like, "Okay." So I think it'll be fine, but I also super doubly agree where we're going to get it in like a month and everyone's going to be like, "This is so good. Why didn't anyone say anything?" It's like, no, everyone's been saying it's pretty well made.
It's also not on Steam.
It's not.
That's what I heard.
I can tell you in 3 seconds, it's not. But Princess Suburbia, which is a hentai game, is on Steam, by the way.
I think some people aren't as online as a lot of people yelling at people to play it.
No, I've heard good things about it. I've heard a friend of mine, Trey, on the Nintendo Main Podcast, he was talking about it too. Except his glitched. His game ended up glitching and deleted his save, essentially.
Oh,
I remember playing it when I remember playing it a little when it was. I don't think it was out. It was in their early release thing, but I would play for 30 minutes, then it would just shut down and crash on me.
Yeah, I think some numbers came out, and it was like, I think it was Matt Piscatella or someone said it sold like 300,000 units, which in today's climate is a quote unquote failure. But I don't know what the budget is for a game like that. I also didn't gel with the story. I didn't care about what I was doing. And I know you go to these text walls all the time, and I'm like, this is just too long. I don't care. It's hard to replicate the magic of the Sands of Time, where you're just invested in this relationship. And you can't do that 2.0 or just keep trying to do that again, which is what they kind of did in 2008 with the Elvica character. But yeah, I highly recommend going out paying full price. Because and the thing is, again, people are budget conscious and things like that. But I have a feeling if people don't buy it, then the message at Ubisoft is going to be, well, guess what? We're making Far Cry 10.
Oh, it is.
Assassin's Creed 27 and The Division 3, which are just going to be these same things. So, yeah. But I guess the big one, because of my website, I picked up Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I have said this on social media, and I was going to get out of the way right away. I am friendly with the person who wrote for the game who had to leave Rocksteady because of the treatment of their female staff. So I donated the full retail price of the deluxe edition to a charity for women in the tech industry. I'm just going to get that out right away. I don't hate it, but it's frustrating and hollow. I think it's Marvel's Avengers 2.0, and I say that because it's a game that has an identity crisis. It wants to have its single-player cake and live service cake and eat it too. And it can't be both. Because, the way Avengers are structured was you had story missions, but they were thinly veiled live service missions, like hold this thing, blow up all the things on this thing, go get the loot, and this is the same thing. Because the story is really engaging, because I wanted to see what happened. And the facial capture on the characters is incredible. Especially Harley Quinn. I mean, it's just, she looks like a human being. The boss fights are terrible. I hate every single one of them. Especially the Batman. Well, I mean, when you look at the Arkham games are great.
Yes.
The boss fights are terrible, except for Mr. Freeze. Think of another fight in the Arkham series where you're like, I love this.
I love Bane. I don't actually.
I liked. I think I liked the Clayface fight in
City.
Yeah.
Clayface is good. I feel like Origins had some good fights.
Yeah, but that wasn't Rocksteady.
I know.
Probably the best fights are Mr. Freeze in Arkham City, and then Deathstroke in Arkham Origins.
Yeah,
which wasn't made by.
Yeah, I mean,
Because-
Arkham Knight just had tank shit, didn't it?
Yeah, like the
I would
ending of
also
that
say
game.
Killer Croc from City, I think, was really good when you're in the
Asylum.
sewers.
Oh, that's Asylum.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
Asylum.
that's good.
Yeah, that's good. It's
freaking
hard to replay those. Every time I have to replay Asylum, I'm like, okay, I have to slowly walk through this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I know, like the first one at the gate is the Flash, and I think it's because of the character I'm using, because I was using King Shark, who has a giant minigun and is very used for up close combat. And the Flash is just this tiny little blip in the distance, and I just I couldn't find him to shoot him. And then every fight is kind of just you're in a circular arena and you have to fight. Like there's a big thing that happens. The Batman fight is, oh, it's so dumb. It's because you think about like how fun it would be to be on the other side of Arkham Batman. Like he's hiding, he's swooping down, he's setting traps. But I won't get in much detail to spoil it. And then the final fight, which doesn't even feel like a final fight because you basically finish the game and it says congratulations, keep playing.
Give us
And
money.
in that sense, the game almost feels like an
Agreed.
extended tutorial.
So that game also confuses me. I'm going to piggyback off Blair because I've also been playing the Suicide Squad game. I've been playing with my partner, but I've been having tons of fun with it. I'm playing as Deadshot, and he's playing as Captain Boomerang, who's probably the funnest character to play as.
Who only uses boomerangs, right?
See, I think he's the least. I like him the least. Like him and Harley Quinn are the ones I don't, because I think the problem with Harley Quinn is that her traversal is swinging, and I played 3 Spider-Man games, and I can't go back to crappy swinging.
Yeah, that's fair.
I even think Black Widow's swinging in Marvel's Avengers is better than hers. I think if I was to pick a second character, it would be Deadshot, but I just love King Shark.
Deadshot's pretty fun to play as.
King Shark is like my favorite character. He just seems like a person who just people would call the game kind of mean, and I get that, especially after the Flash fight. It's kind of, you're killing the Justice League and something happens, and I was like, it's maybe a bit too far.
I don't like it that you have to kill them. I mean, I didn't even think about it. I mean, I haven't played this game yet. And I won't play it for years, most likely. But one of the podcasts I listen to all the time, Comic Conspiracy, he was going on and on, a little too on. I was getting annoyed with him, actually. But he was talking about how, like, it shouldn't be Brainiac controlling them. Brainiac doesn't do this. It should be Starro. I don't like this. Do they not know who the Suicide Squad are? And bitchin'. I mean, I'm fine with it. Like, I get it. It's not comic accurate, but it does look fun. It just...
And see, that's the thing.
Don't
It's
like killing the Justice League.
I am having fun. Like when I'm with King Shark and I'm zipping around and I'm shooting people, it feels really good. Like I was shocked about how much I wanted to come home from work and keep playing. And when I had to turn it off and go to bed, I wanted to keep going. Because the moment-to-moment action, it does have that Arkham flow and you're building up these combos. But the thing is, again, you're playing as these characters and all of them are just, this one has a machine gun. This one also has a machine gun. This one has a shotgun. And their traversal really defines them.
There's also way too many buttons. I don't know if that you have an issue with that, Blair, but we're getting to a point in gaming society. We live in a society. We're getting to a point in a game society where there's way too many fucking buttons to do stuff, because you have, as playing a character, you had a traversal technique. So as Deadshot, I have the ability to have a jetpack, and then I have to kickstart it to deplete the bar so I can have the jetpack to keep going. So you can double that, which at the end of the day, I feel like isn't very far, but it's still okay. But then you also have all these other buttons. You have grenades, and you have your weapon swaps, and you have your reloads, and the reloads have there's a bar to where you can get a perfect reload, and I'm not even sure if that does anything.
Yeah, I know. All the time I'm thinking about, it's like, why not steal the mini game from Gears of War? Like, this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to do active reload, only terrible, and Gears of War came out in 2006.
I never liked the active reload in Gears. I would always miss it. And remember that Scott Pilgrim / Contra Metal Slug alike called Mercenary something that had one of those, and I didn't like it as much as it didn't like it as well.
And I know, like, we want to talk about, like, some of them, like, the missions where you're just pure shooting are fun. But then you have missions where you have to do certain parameters. And I just watched the Xbox expansion pass review of this Friday morning before work, and they brought up what they didn't like. Like, there's missions where your guns don't do any damage and you only can kill people with grenades, but getting grenades is nearly impossible. So a mission that would take 5 minutes takes 20 because you're just fumbling about trying to get a grenade.
That just sounds dumb.
I didn't have that issue because I think the mission said you have to melee the grunts to get. You have to melee the grunts to. You have to melee the grunts to get grenades. But the other issue I was having was like, oh, you have to use grenades, and you have like the people that use snipers are the last ones you have to kill. But they're very specifically if you get too close, because they're snipers, if you get too close to them, they teleport away. So it's like, so how the fuck am I supposed to toss a grenade at them from like 50 fucking feet?
And there's other ones. Now, it helps later on because, I mean, it's not a spoiler because it was in their Suicide Squad lead-up marketing thing. The Poison Ivy is back as a child. And for the sole purpose of giving your weapons, like, elemental things. Because you have missions where you can only kill people with critical hits, and if you don't critical hit them, they get their life back.
What?
And I didn't know what I had to do. But then later on, you get like an electric power where if you can shock someone, every shot is a critical hit. But that's not until towards the end of the game. So it's very polarizing. Like I think I don't hate it, but I want to like it more than what I do.
What are you playing on?
PlayStation 5.
Oh, to be fair, it's also like crossplay. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll see, since you're playing as King Shark, let you play Prime Time or something. You can play like an hour with me and my partner and see how much fun we're having. Maybe you'll have fun with more people, because I'm having tons of fun with my partner.
See, I think from what I was watching the Greg Miller review, and he said, like, when you play, no, I'm done the story now, so I'm just basically faffing about Metropolis. Like, just missions are just spawning, and I'm getting Riddler stuff, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I don't even know why he's here, just because it's nostalgic, I guess, or the Riddler is there, but his things are like, if you thought the things in Arkham Knight where you had to go through the racetracks were weird, now it's basically Superman 64 where it's like go through rings.
Well,
I love the driving the Batmobile thing through those. I like the Batmobile in Arkham Knight.
It grew on me too.
Yeah, I thought the driving was a little bit, it could have felt more arcadey, because it was kind of hard to steer sometimes, but I didn't hate it either. I really hated like the Deathstroke fight at the end, especially when it was like a tank battle with Deathstroke when you had the Arkham Origins thing.
Don't you mean Red Hood?
No, there's DLC with Deathstroke.
No, well,
it's not DLC. There's just an ending with Deathstroke.
Yeah, once Red Hood, once he fought, like if you get to a certain point and I think you don't have something done, like basically Deathstroke takes over the army.
He takes it over no matter what, but you can't do the fight until you take out the majority of like the outposts and things. Then you unlock a final fight with Deathstroke.
Yeah, I see.
Go listen to our episode, Arkham Knight. It's somewhere in the catalog.
So I think, the campaign isn't very long. I started Sunday after I finished Prince of Persia, and I had it done by Thursday night. Just playing an hour or two a night.
I like short campaigns for a game I buy for $15 in a humble bundle. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, it's worse than that. I don't know if Blair knows. But real quick, one thing that's also really fun too is whenever you play with other people during the storyline, whenever you defeat a mission, it gathers your points and makes someone else a team leader. And so whoever becomes team leader actually gets to pick what mission you get to go on next. So like basically like my partner who keeps winning because he's having more fun than me. Since he's winning, he gets to pick what mission goes next. And I can't pick which one we go next to. So he'll play the harder ones first. But Blair, I don't know what the ending is. I'm assuming something, but I'm not going to say it out loud. The season pass is free apparently. So all that stuff with all that stuff with the Joker coming up, that's all going to be free.
That's not
bad.
bad.
I mean, it's the same thing as Avengers, where it's like, oh, this is free, and you only have to pay for cosmetics. And I've heard this song and dance again and again and again. I don't know. It's such a weird thing because, I mean, it's taken this long for Rocksteady to publish a game. Like Arkham Knight was 2015. I think Arkham VR was 2016. That's like a 2-hour experience. And in that time, like it came out where someone had to basically become a whistleblower for the company, and the two founders left, and this is what we get. And it's not without merits, but it's also
I didn't hear about that until what you just mentioned now. I guess I'm not fully entrenched in all that news, but I never knew about anything like that until you told me about that.
Yeah, I think the person took the video down. I'm not going to name them because I think they've had enough coverage and, just respectful of her. But she had a video, I think it was an article came out about The Guardian about like conditions in Rocksteady and how they spoke up. And she put out a video where essentially said, take my name off the credits. I don't want my name anywhere on this project and things like that. And then last October, the founders of Rocksteady left. So with all that going on, you wonder why it took so long. And I want to know, I think someone like Jason Schreier is going to have some big article about how this all happened, whether it was they want to do a single player thing and then publisher pressure said we have to do these live service things because they make more money, even though they don't. It's being proved over and over again that it doesn't work.
But one did. So therefore.
Yeah. So everyone's chasing the purple dragon, but they never catch up to it.
It's okay. We all know what this is, which is them just teasing we are going to get a Batman Beyond game. So we're just waiting for that.
Yeah,
and I'm sure we all want to catch Spyro the Dragon someday as well.
And I know people have. I finished the story, and I know the spoilers are out there, but I won't get into them because people are basically speaking for someone who's not with us anymore. They're saying this is disrespectful to Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, it's not. For what was relayed to me in private, I won't get into it. He was great throughout the entire process. I mean, he probably relished I can't speak for the man. He's not alive, which haunts me every day for the past year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he relished the opportunity to play an evil Batman because he's been doing this role for so long, and it said, oh, okay, let's do something different. And I get to be the bad guy for once. I don't like how the story with that character ends. I think that's the issue I have with it. And I think they're going to handle that better.
I know for a fact Kevin Conroy loved being an evil Batman because he has he says something every 5 fucking minutes. And I don't mean in a bad way.
Yeah.
But every even during because technically you're competing during the missions. So if my partner's winning, you'll hear, it sounds great, but you hear Kevin Conroy as evil Batman being is Captain Boomerang winning? I want his boomerangs picked up and analyzed for analysis. Or if I start winning, it's I need Deadshot's marks picked up and see what kind of ammo he's using. And he just constantly talking throughout that entire game. So it's nice to hear.
Something that someone brought up I didn't notice because I know he says he's essentially watching you. But someone said they caught in the corner of the eye where he was Batman was on the map somewhere and they saw him basically smoke out and disappear.
That's cool.
That's something I didn't see. And I mean, the thing is too is it's like Guardians of the Galaxy in that the team kind of doesn't gel together, and then by the end they're more familial with one another. But I think Guardians of the Galaxy just did that better, much better. And I guess I'll stop talking about this game now.
Yeah,
but just to say that I don't want to get into this because it's such a weird thing. I mean, I just played Arkham City and Arkham Asylum on the Nintendo Switch collection last year. I love the Arkham series. I played through them again. These games are incredibly misogynistic. Every female character is basically male gaze. They're all called idiots. Catwoman sliding, and she's sliding so her chest is out. And even Poison Ivy, they had an opportunity to redesign her for Arkham Knight, but she's still in the man's shirt. And I don't know if misogynist is the right word, but it's basically it comes across sometimes it's very mean to women.
Yes, it does.
Even now, especially I'm playing, I'm man, this is really, really harsh. And I'm glad that there's a moment with Harley where she kind of puts a spin on that, and that I really loved it. Because after so many years, it was oh, Harley's not bright. She's an idiot. I'm she's a doctor. I know this thing happened to her, but she's a PhD. She's Dr. Harleen Quinzel. So it's just great. And then like Wonder Woman's there too, voiced by the same person who voiced Jane Foster in Marvel's Avengers, which is pretty cool. And like she gets a lot of moments to shine.
So what you're saying is Harley Quinn is smarter than Howard Wolowitz.
So is that Wonder Woman the Wonder Woman we're gonna get for the Wonder Woman game that we were supposed to get but maybe got canceled?
I'm assuming not. I don't think so, because from the 20 seconds of footage, they look different. I think that's still in the pipeline. It's just like the problem with games now is that they announce them too early for an investor bump and to get people. They're basically recruitment drives.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, we're making this, come work at Monolith, we're making Wonder Woman, and then the stock sees a bump because everyone's on social media talking about the Wonder Woman game. So I'm assuming we'll see that end of this year or possibly next. I can't wait to play that. But I don't think... and I mean, and another thing that too is like in this, they're already talking about multiverse and...
Yeah.
So
oh my God.
It could all be undone. Like they'll find whatever where... the Justice League and the thing is there's like audio logs with the Justice League and it's talking about like how Brainiac arrives and how they're dealing with it, but from like everything that they're in the game, it's almost like they're the boys version of the Justice League.
Wow.
Even like in the Hall of Justice, it basically sounds like Homelander or A-Train just being like, oh, okay, we got to record this stupid thing for the kids.
Okay.
I have a comment about that, but I won't say it during the podcast because I think
I want us to move on from this.
I think it's a huge spoiler. But my last comment for Kill the Suicide Squad or Kill the Justice League Suicide Squad as the resident person is just, hey, Captain Boomerang can sure spit in my mouth.
Yeah, I have been neck deep, hip deep, however deep you want to be in Power World. So I've been playing that for the last week or so, or a couple weeks. Yeah, I've also. If you want me to talk more about that now, or
yeah, no, please. I've been curious. I've seen a lot of people playing it and talking about it. I know that it looks like Pokemon with guns, but it's not Pokemon because Pokemon doesn't have guns. So...
Well, it's pretty much Pokemon if you have the gun, because there are some Pokemon. Well, they're called pals in this, but most of the gunplay there is you shooting them and capturing them, or shooting other people, because basically the story, if whatever story there is that you're shipwrecked on this island with a bunch of other people, and the pals are hostile. They will eat you. They will. There's a guy.
Your pals.
There's someone you meet. There's someone you meet within 10 minutes saying, "Wow, we're fucked up here. Like I just saw a couple of my friends get eaten by some pals." So stay sharp, survive, and basically you're on your own from there. You have a box that you keep your pals in. You throw spears. You throw pal spears to capture them after you take down their health. You can do that yourself, or have the pal you roam around with do it for you. And otherwise, you're just exploring, creating a base, resources, just like Ark and a bunch of other survival games.
Yeah, as much as people say it's Pokemon with guns, it's not.
I know it's not. It just that the models are closed. Like people just want to get on their knees for Nintendo, for lack of a better joke. Because I cut down. I'll never work for Nintendo at this point. I'll never work for the gaming industry, period. But people get way too people are like, Nintendo, you need to go get them. Like, you want to think that Nintendo somewhere when this game was first announced didn't look at these things and go, yeah, they're close enough but not close enough for us to do anything about copyright. Like they would have a long time ago. Like, come on.
Yeah. This I've heard this been called childish from other people, but I hope that this lights a fire under Nintendo to actually do something better with their Pokemon.
I do too, because I've heard great things about Arceus. I have not played it yet because I don't really play Switch and I don't like spending $50 on the game. So there's that. But
and technically, this is still in early access, quote unquote. Yeah. There's a lot of things I think that can or should be improved, like some quality of life that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they will. If this is an early access, I mean, this is just them making money before they're ready to completely... Because it's not free, right?
No.
It's on Game Pass.
It is on Game Pass, but it's also $30 on Steam.
Okay.
And I'm playing the majority of it on Steam because a couple friends that I play with have a server, and they adjust different settings for it, like giving bonus XP, upping capture rates, and a bunch of other stuff that you're able to do.
That's cool.
Server.
I love PC. I will always. I wasn't a PC gamer for so long, but no, I'm glad that people are enjoying it. I'm glad it's doing good. Like, I just get irritated when people start to worship corporations. No corporation is your friend, okay? Like, I don't care what they do. None of them are your friend. Like, don't ever think, yeah. Same thing. Even corporations you work for, they're not your friend. You do their job, you make them money, they give you money. It's a symbiotic relationship, but they ain't your friend. Like, no corporation is anyone's friend. So don't ever... People fall into that stupid thing.
Yeah, whenever you capture pals or whatnot, you can put them to work in your base. You can have them crafting. You can have them generating power if they're an electric type. You can have them tend to your farm or fields, which are called plantations.
Right?
Oh boy.
And also, I want to make a point that, like, Carson is correct. You can assign certain pals to certain things. But, like, I remember when I built my first plantation, I had a water type like a penguin, and it would, like, water the berries with the water that comes from its mouth. And I don't know, like, this kind of I know that, like, when I was a kid, we had, like, those discussions of, do people eat the Pokemon? It's like, yes, here, like, you eat the Pokemon.
Yeah. I always assumed that you.
I mean, they are. No question.
That there's got to be a farm of, like, milk tanks somewhere that are not just for milk.
And Tauros, no question.
Yeah. But
people are eating animals, okay?
We don't know where this water's coming from. Is this, like, potable water? Like, it's just coming from inside this like Piplup clone. Like, I don't know.
So,
yeah, pretty much. A lot of it is almost blatant, one for one. Like, there's this ice type pal that looks alarmingly like a Ninetales from Pokemon.
Yeah, but they must have did whatever needed to be just enough so they weren't.
Yeah, there's accusations and whatnot of AI generation and a bunch of other stuff. So
Nintendo would have shut them down by now if they could have. It's Nintendo.
I've been following Power World for, like, the last, like, 3 years, which is one thing that I absolutely hate, because people assume this game, like, popped up in, like, a month, but they've been working. They've been working on this game forever. I think, like, the YouTube channel. I'm probably wrong, but there's, like, a YouTube channel called Legal Eagle, and, like, the word he's a lawyer, but he, like, sat down with, like, 4 other lawyer friends, and they all played it, and they're all like, yeah, Nintendo can't even sue for this. It's very much a parody. If even that.
They would have if they could have. I mean, that's no question.
There's certain like discussions, or we're looking into this very hardly.
No, they're not. They just had to say something because people kept bitching at them because, like I said, people worship Nintendo.
Oh, and someone actually made a mod to exchange PAL mods. Yeah, and that guy got the banhammer.
Well, yeah, because Nintendo protects their property and everything. I mean, yes, I don't like it, but they should. So, I mean, if they could have done something would have happened years ago when this game was being developed. Like, this isn't. People are just stupid.
Also, Carson, you're playing the right way. I'm playing on Game Pass. And when I say playing, I mean I was playing on Game Pass because my partner decided to up the catching rate, and our whole server crashed for like 3 days straight of gameplay. So I am currently not playing Power World till it gets a heavy update on the Game Pass, because I think you're in a version like 0.8 or something on Steam. 0.08.
I'm looking at 0.10, 0.1.4.1.
Yeah, we're in 0.01.02. So we're like two or three fucking like versions under you, and
everything with Xbox. Well, I mean, probably any system, you have to get it approved by a lot of levels before you can do it. I know.
Yes,
that's
exactly what it is. So
So they're not, and they got to pay each time.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how it used to be. You had to pay for each update. So sometimes you just don't. You're just going to wait because you don't want to keep paying.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, and when you put your pals to work, you have to worry about every pal has a sanity meter or sanity score.
Okay.
From 100 to 0. You have to, if you get that to 0, they will. I don't know what happens if they get totally to 0. Well, they'll not want to work. They'll
want to murder you.
No, they'll wander off. If you put beds in your camp, they will go lie down. They will eat something. They will do whatever they can to get their sanity up. So yeah, you can work them as much as you can to keep their sanity good.
So I got to make a joke for one person who's going to listen to this. Phoebe, see, it will work if you get a bunk above the factory. You can just go sleep, get your sanity, and go back to work. She's going to kill me when she hears this in a month from now, even though
sounds
it's
like
sooner,
a
but she's
job.
right.
It's like we have to manage a workforce.
It's pretty much what you're doing. It's pretty much what you're doing.
I mean, I manage places. That's what you do.
Yeah.
There are some times when you want to get a specific task for them to do done, and there's a lot of glitches, a lot of bugs. You'll see pals just wandering around your place, like stuck on geometry and whatnot. It's very buggy.
You have to get your pal to hand in the cover letter and like apply in triplicate.
No, you just capture them.
This is more slavery than employment, but yes.
Yeah, but you can treat. But yeah, you can treat them right if you want to. There's this one building which is basically a podium pedestal where you can set how normal and how harshly your pals have to work. Like there's a normal setting, there's a brutal setting, and there's a slavery. Not quote unquote slavery setting. So yeah, go ahead.
There's the building. You do have to build a house because part of the tutorial. I mean, you don't have to. Like if you want to go through the tutorial, the building feels very much like Fortnite's building, where like the piece is kind of like out in front of you and it's in the third person view. So like articulating the pieces. If you've ever played Fortnite with building, you've got it in Pal World.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, well, you gotta have a place for your bed so you can sleep at night and
so you don't get stressed.
That's cool though. I mean, I have never played a survival game. This maybe when it fully releases, if there is a single player campaign, I could see myself digging into this.
I doubt there is some kind of a single player campaign. There's different places along the map that you have to go to and face quote unquote gym leaders, like leaders of factions. There's the Syndicate faction. No
wonder people are crying to Nintendo, huh?
There's the Free Pal
like Quest
clan or side or whatever you want to call them.
Are these the guys in like black hoodies with white stripes on their heads I just saw running around attacking people? They look like Team Rocket.
Yeah, they just call them Team Shuttle or something.
Oh, that's they're just called either the Syndicate, the Free Pal Alliance, or the PAL Genetic Research Team. I forget what they're called.
It looked really cool.
And the workbenches that you put out for the pals or anyone to work on are literal assembly line.
Yeah. All right. I'm very interested to play it someday. I really am, but we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, and the map is big. I didn't know how big the map really is until I got a pal that can fly and I can fly it around because you have to build items and saddles for you to ride your pals, and there's some pals that'll swim, some that'll fly, some that'll run on the ground, and you can, once you get a good traversal one, you can just fly them. You can fly them, but the flying takes stamina, so you have to rest them while you're riding them every once in a while.
Okay. All right. And I do have one game that I want to mention still, which I'm doing an episode about it, but you won't hear it for months, so I'll mention it on here. I just beat Plague Knight recently from the Shovel Knight campaign.
Neat.
Whoa, that was hard. That was not a fun experience, but hey, when I beat it, I was standing up because you have to as a gamer. You have to stand up in front of your TV. I had everyone look at you like, what are you doing? And I went I went and did the fist pump and everything when I beat that game, because fuck, that game is hard. Good game. Yeah. It's just Plague Knight is very difficult. I haven't played Shovel Knight in over 2 years, so I don't remember how he handled. I know he handled good, but like I didn't have that coming in, which was probably best because I didn't realize how shitty my controls worked. I don't remember how good Shovel Knight was. So yeah, I mean the controls are good. Just Plague Knight he's really tough. You have to really learn how to handle him.
Well, I want to. As I can say, I've also been playing Tekken 8.
Playing what?
Tekken 8.
Oh, okay. I like Tekken series.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun. It's I just upgraded my computer and it runs very well for a fighting game of that detail and whatnot. And I've also been playing since it's on Game Pass. I've been playing the Persona 3 Reload.
That came out.
Persona 3, yeah.
That has tons of quality of life updates where I'm actually considering buying it for my Steam Deck so I can play it.
Weren't you the guy that bitched about Persona at one time on Facebook?
Isn't the PC version not that great? I know Greg Miller is always making PC jokes on Twitter, and I think the PC port is not great.
I ignore almost anything Greg Miller says. And
I mean, just like light jabs or whatever, but I just heard that like he posted something about how the PC port was just not great. I mean, it could just be.
It was running well for me. I don't know why. I don't know. People who say they play PC games and have trouble with PC games, I don't know what's wrong with them. Maybe my bias or whatnot, but almost every PC game I have played or play has been fine.
I think people if you're mostly a console gamer, like for me as a guy who came from console, like I think I can kind of touch on this. Like all I did was play console games, and when I went to PC, like it was just daunting. Like even now, like I was playing Assassin's Creed Revelations, I had it crash on me a couple of times for like no reason, like the game, because I was trying to do the memory mode in that game. People know what I'm talking about, where you go inside the Animus. And it just crashed for some reason. It just like looked like it crashed and it reloaded up. Like when I played that, also I had to go and copy a code and paste a code in to get it to run. Like I also had to delete a file. I had to open up File Manager, find a certain file, and delete it to make the game run on PC. Like
there are some headaches. Yeah.
But again, Google is your friend. If you can ask a question to an idiot, you can ask a question to Google. Same thing will work. You'll get an Xbox. Like it's not people, but. So I was scared of it for a long time, the moral of the story, but you just have to be, I think PC is wonderful. So, all right, that's my rant.
Yeah, as far as Persona 3, it is, there's a lot of quality of life, as you said, like their rewind feature. You go day by day in Persona, you have your mornings, your afternoons, your evenings to spend time before you go out into the quote-unquote dungeon. So, I haven't really used it, but from what I hear, the rewind lets you go back to a specific time of day in that day.
Cool.
Say you start out the day, you go to school, you miss a particular question that your teacher said. You can go on and continue that day, but whenever you can save, you can hit rewind and go back to the start of that day and try to answer that question again, as an example I have heard.
That's a nice quality of life for Persona.
It's supposed to be because a lot of people were having issues where, what was it? Because whenever you get to the full moon, because in the game, essentially, during every full moon, you have a boss fight. That's also what it was for, too, because people were getting to the moons and then not being leveled correctly. So I heard that's also why it was put in there as well.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there's certain spots where you have to go to a big boss or a big dungeon, as I said, during full moons. And yeah, I'm sure that'll leave a lot of pressure. And also the battle-to-battle system is improved. You can basically hit the weakness of an enemy and just tag in someone else to hit another weakness of another enemy and just get trounced through a bunch of enemies and in one go to finish them with the all-out attack and everything else. And I think that's all I've been really heavily playing.
I remember when Persona 3 came out, and I was listening to, I think, like one of yours in EGM Live, and it was funny because I think a lot of people were talking about things like Manhunt 2, I think, was coming out, and it's this very controversial game, and like Grand Theft Auto and Hot Coffee, and then you had Persona 3 come out, and it's a game where
you're shooting yourself in the head.
Where you're shooting yourself in the head, like a high school kid shooting themselves in the head, and I'm pretty sure there's also a subplot where one of the kids dates one of the teachers.
Yes.
So, and like no one was talking about that because it just was like this niche little, at the time, little RPG.
I know. I think the base Shin Megami and older Persona games, I think, need more love, like 1 and 2, and like a bunch of the other Shin Megami Tensei games, I think, need more love.
Atlas confirmed we're getting a remake of 2, so
that's good.
Boy, that's gonna be fun. Killing Hitler, yay!
I need to play more of this. I only ever played 4.
So, Joe, does Suicide Squad have more Pokemon than Power World?
What do you mean?
Well, there's missions where you have to put human beings in Pokeballs and get them to the buses.
Oh, you can also catch humans in Power World, so I mean...
Oh, yeah. I have done that. They spell it outright that it is inhumane to do that whenever you capture a human in a Pal Sphere.
Okay.
They say that that is considered inhumane to capture a human.
It's okay. Humans aren't very good workers in Power World, so there's no point to catch them anyway, so...
Yeah.
I was gonna say I've set up like a wood chopping area, and I played for a night, and I didn't have a pal that could like use it, so I was like, well, I need some wood, and like I'm already here, like I'll give it a shot, and it was like chop, and I was like, this is not good.
It's
welcome to work.
It's crazy. Like when Easy Allies came back after Game Trailers, they had a series called, I think it was like. No, I think it came Brandon's son, Kyle Moon, and it was Brandon Jones playing through Pokemon Blue for the first time. And you get to the part with Lieutenant Surge, and he didn't know anything about the story. This is his first time playing Pokemon. Lieutenant Surge was talking about, I'm a veteran of the war. And he was like, what's war in this universe? Is like people just like firing Raichus at one another? Like, what are they warring over? Like, what's this? And I remember Kyle was just like, this is never talked about in the entire franchise.
And there's this one comic I read long ago that basically a guy with Pokemon comes up to the Pokemon Center and puts down the Pokemon and say, hey, heal my Pokemon. And Nurse Joy behind the counter says, okay, that'll be 2,000 credit, a Pokédollars. And the trainer's incredulous. What, we have to pay for it now? Then the third panel is just basically riots.
See, folks, that's the difference between the Canadian and North American U.S. healthcare systems. Like in Canada, you just heal your Pokemon for free. In our region, lots of ice types, though.
Yeah, basically the third panel is just a riot standoff with Officer Jennings with Blastoises as a riot spraying down rioters because now Pokemon Health is privatized.
It is America versus
Canada. The socialist agenda and how it's tearing the world apart.
I think it's the rejection of the socialist agenda that is tearing
it
is
apart. All right. Any other games you want to mention that we haven't talked before we go on to movies and TV?
Me personally, no.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Blair?
No, I'm good. I don't have any, and also I know like valuable of your times.
Mr. Joseph.
No, I'm good.
And Kody?
No, I've also been playing Call of Duty Vanguard, which is basically what if Quentin Tarantino remade Inglourious Bastards and made it a video game, and it's not funny. So if you like I don't know, it's like how are video games funny? You know what I mean? Like it's fine. It's an action movie. If you like action movies, Call of Duty Vanguard.
I was gonna say, you son of a bitch, I'm in, but if it's not funny, I don't fucking care.
I mean, I picked it up on sale, I don't know.
It'll be good for the economy.
All right, any movies or TV you want to mention?
Oh, no. I mean, I've been reading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, The Last Ronin. It's good.
Right? Yeah.
It's a great... Good. I found it. It was on sale at Target. I was like, all right, I've been wanting to read it. Cool.
It's good. Lost Years is pretty good, too.
Yeah, I found a hardcover trade at Walmart. I I just skimmed through and picked up, but I've heard good things.
It's good. It's well done. They're gonna milk it till it dies, but
I think didn't somebody say, or whoever they said, there's gonna be a Ninja Turtles game based off of that?
Yeah,
I've
seen the announcements.
They did. They announced it like early last year in around March, and then
Nothing.
later that year they officially announced it, and then recently the studio making it had to lay off 50 people, so it's probably not coming out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, maybe WB can make it. It can be a live service game where you have to pay for each turtle.
Oh boy.
Even though that shouldn't be the way it is, but I can see
there's
WB doing
only
it.
one.
I know, but I can still see WB doing it.
Also,
I mean, if you go
just
into the lost years, there's 4, but that's neither here nor there. So that's all different.
my last comment in that on the Last Ronin game is that of the 1,900 layoffs that Microsoft is proposing, technically it hasn't happened. The FTC is objecting based off of those projected layoffs. They're objecting to the merger because they said that Microsoft claimed that they were going to keep things status quo. And it turns out deleting 10% of your workforce is not considered status quo. And number 2, members of the Communication Workers of America union were not affected by the layoffs. So get more unions in the tech sphere, get more unions at Microsoft, get more unions at Ubisoft and all those places, because that's how we get protections for women. That's how we get protections for minority groups and just workers. Workers need protection.
Sure.
And if you've looked at the recent acquisitions, you're likely to be owned by a mega corporation right now if you make video games. So
you're gonna get embraced sooner than you realized.
So
Yeah.
join a union, because unions will protect you. That's all.
I always love when I used to work for a big corporation. They're like, unions are bad. And you said, make us watch these videos. I'm just like, okay. And now I look back, and I was like early 20s. I'm like, okay, sure, unions are bad. Now I'm like, you fucking were lying to me. Like, who would have thought? But that's a whole nother story. All right. Oh, I do have one comic I read that I want to mention. Since you mentioned I'm reading Justice League New 52 again. I've got 20 issues in so far. I'm just reading it just for the hell of it, just because I needed something to do, and I'm at night before I go to sleep, and I'm really enjoying it. It's good. A lot of written by Jeff Johns, too, which helps.
I think I read it, excuse me, Throne of Atlantis.
Yes.
I think that's how far I got before I bounced.
Oh, that's the it's not written like what I'm used to with comic books. You have the first arc, which is the beginning of Justice League, which is Justice League War, that movie, which is good. And then there's a couple other random stuff happening, and then they get the Throne of Atlantis it ends around 18, but that jumps back between Aquaman and Justice League. But I like that arc.
Aquaman was one of the books in the New 52 that I was reading until Jeff Johns left, I think.
I need to finish it. I read it. I was reading it too, and I got to a point, and I think I got the same point you did, where Jeff Johns left, and I just put it down. I need to go back. I'm trying to go back and read more New 52. I just like the New 52. But I'm glad that you checked out Last Ronin, Kody. That's a great series. Like, that's a good time. I even have the Funko Pop for those that are, the three of us sitting here in front of the camera.
Oh, nice.
My only complaint about Last Ronin is I think it would have been a better twist if they never revealed who it was.
Not the end of the first issue.
Which turtle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember the big hype about it, and everybody talking about it before it came out, and I was really surprised when I finally read it a year later that it was in the first issue. So, I did not expect that. All right. Anyone? Blair, do you have any TV or movies you want to mention?
So we don't have the Peacock streaming service in Canada. So I hate when things get announced on Peacock, because I know there's going to be some convoluted way for me to watch it. So I think my fiance and I have been watching Ted, and it's really great. I don't know who was asking for a Ted prequel. It's a movie where like Mark Wahlberg has his teddy bear come to life. So I think in Peacock they dumped all the episodes. Yeah, I think in Peacock they dumped all the episodes at once, but here in Canada it's on a channel that you have to subscribe through someone else on a platform called Stack TV. So we only get one episode a week. So we've just been kind of watching it legally like that. But like it's really funny, and I saw the first one with Ted when it came out, and I thought it was fine. I never watched the sequel until last night, actually, because we just threw it on because we had never seen it before. But like it's like a really funny classic sitcom throwback, and the guy who plays the young Mark Wahlberg is incredible. Like he sounds exactly like Mark Wahlberg. Like the writing's really sharp. Like I saw people on Twitter like showing jokes, and then it made me want to watch it. There was one in particular where they're talking about like McDonald's apple pies and how they're super hot, and they throw it and it basically explodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like it was such a
Hot
great
Pockets
bit that it kept going throughout the entire episode.
Same with Hot Pockets. Those are grenades.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you're finished, sorry. Well, I have been keeping up with my stories with wrestling. Yeah, I am completely on the Kody train. I want him to finish the story. I want all this. I am loving all this drama and everything between The Rock, Roman, and all this and whatnot. So yeah, I'm keeping it up. I'm keeping up with it. I'm ready for WrestleMania 40.
That's good. I never watched wrestling, but I like documentaries about it. I just watched a documentary about Ric Flair actually last night.
Yeah, I miss watching wrestling. Like I saw the Iron Claw in theaters in January or like December, and I was watching a show called Heels that got canceled. And like I love the idea of wrestling, but not the commitment. Like I haven't really watched it since like the 2000s.
If you want some good, if you want a good podcast or discussion about wrestling nowadays and old days, I suggest OSW reviews, old school wrestling reviews. They go pay-per-view by pay-per-view, discussing what happens behind the scenes, what they think of the matches, and how booking is done and everything. Just really funny in depth. Just poking fun at the whole wrestling thing.
I just love that wrestling is a reminder, or WrestleMania rather, is a reminder of how old I am, because the first WrestleMania happened on my in the year of my first birthday. So I'm just like, how old am I again? Like, what WrestleMania we at? 40? Oh yeah, that one. I'll be 40.
That's a good way to keep track.
Yeah, I have been getting back. I got back into wrestling during WrestleMania 30 when Daniel Bryan won the heavyweight title, and that was magical, the whole story behind that. So getting into the bollocks and interesting behind the stage everything about wrestling is just really fun. Like OSW and the also documentary The Dark Side of the Ring I've been watching a lot. That's also interesting and I recommend. So yeah, that's what I've been watching.
Okay. And Joe, do you have anything?
Oh yeah, it's that time. Play the theme song, Mike. Joe's Anime Corner, my anime corner. We don't have a theme song yet, so it's Joe's Anime Corner. There's 3 I've been watching lately. One I haven't watched. I read the manga, but I need to one-up Phoebe, so I'm doing that. So everyone be surprised. The first one it's on Netflix, and it's very cool, very funny, very interesting. It's Delicious in Dungeon. It's the main plot is basically a D&D group, and they live in a very magical, fanatical world. And in the middle of the beginning, they're fighting a dragon, and his sister straight up gets eaten. And they don't know if they can bring her back because technically a dragon takes 1 month to digest the food in its stomach. So the plot is to hopefully go down into the dungeon, which is I don't know how many floors because it's all over the place. Find the dragon while it's asleep because after it eats, it hibernates for a month. Hopefully cut it open and find the sister, and either she will be okay or we can bring her body back to be resurrected because they're not sure how that works.
Yeah, I read some of that. It is very funny, and all the ways they think up the cook monsters as meals. The plot for it is that they need to save money, so they have to eat monsters to survive. There's a very there's an opening bit where they make scorpion and mushroom hot pot, and then they also eat jewel bugs and all this kind of jelly slime.
Stuff. Yeah, it's very funny. The English dub's also really good, so I highly recommend it. The second one is going to be what is essentially the bare bones of what anime is going towards to the future, and I kind of hate it, but I'm also pretty fine with it. Originally, it was from Korea, but it's called Solo Leveling, and that is essentially what every manhwa and manhwa Korean light novel is in Korea right now, which is main character is a regular guy. He gets killed and awakens with new magical power, and magical power is super OP. Yeah, it's pretty cool. The animation goes really well. The opening's okay, but I think I was saying it's interesting that is essentially what everything is going to become, because I read a lot of stuff and my partner reads a lot of stuff, and everything now is just power fantasy.
I've heard mixed reviews about that one.
I think it's okay. I'm waiting for it to get to a certain part before I start watching it. And the last one is called Chain Warrior, where essentially in the world only women get superpowers. The men are shit out of luck.
I like this idea of that world, by the way.
And
Kinda
the main
real time.
Yeah, and the main character is sad, and so he ends up going home one day where I guess random portals pop up, and there is a woman who can turn the monsters into slaves, and she goes, hey, sometimes if people like to become slaves, it becomes easier. So do you want to be my slave, 16-year-old child? And he's like, I'm living every teenager's dream right now. To which he becomes abnormally powerful, but the catch is that if he becomes her slave, her body unwillingly does stuff for him. So it goes everything from kisses to French kisses to stepping on his face.
I thought she was becoming her slave, or she's becoming his slave.
Well, yeah, she becomes his slave, and the deal is it has the reward has to match the work he does. So the harder the boss fight gets, the more sexier the prize gets. and then the way they remedy that is there are other girls with powers, and their powers kind of affect him, so they grab onto the chain on his neck and he gets different powers. But the catch is with that as well is after he gets done with a fight, they have to also do what he wants. And it's funny because you have other characters doing other stuff, but the one that I think is always really funny is there's a small, like there's like a 12-year-old girl character, and it's like he's like, I don't know where this is gonna go, and I'm concerned for my legality, and it's just like a kiss on the cheek, and he's like, oh cool, you're not a weirdo, and you see her as a little sister, and he's like, yes, because I will not make a child do weird things, and it's like, good job, anime. I'm glad you're not being too fucking weird.
Better than Fire Emblem.
Okay.
That's my anime corner. I'm just going to say here now. So if anybody has anything else.
Okay, I have two quick things. One, I finished Medium, a show from the early 2000s. It's on Paramount. Really damn good. Highly recommend it. I really enjoyed it. We watched all 7 seasons of it in like 2 months, I think. So it's really good. It gets weird as hell near the end, but it's a good show. I recommend it a lot. And I watched Mission Impossible 1 again because it was on Paramount. They kept advertising that the new Mission Impossible was on, so now I'm going to try to rewatch all of them. And 1 is a perfect movie. I will stand by that.
It is great.
It's so damn good. Just the filming, everything. 2, not so much. But
yeah, I have never seen a Mission Impossible movie.
Well, if you have Paramount, you can easily do it.
Yeah, 2 it's fine. It's ridiculous, but all the other ones are amazing.
I've seen 1 through 4. It's been a while since I've seen 3. So I'm going to, once I finish 2, I'm going to watch 3. Because at one point Netflix had 1, 2, and 4 for some reason.
I remember 5 didn't do much for me as I loved Ghost Protocol. And then the 6th one where Henry Cavill reloads his arms. That one was really great.
I've never saw that one. I was actually supposed to go see it in theaters on a date, but I went bowling instead. So I never did see it.
Yeah, I saw Mission Impossible 1 in theaters in '96, and I bought the novelization. And the back of the novelization is an ad for Mission Impossible coming soon from Ocean for the Nintendo Ultra 64.
Oh, God.
All right, I think that's that. Anything else somebody wants to add? We got a couple of minutes. All right.
Yes, sorry.
Go ahead, Carson.
Oh, no, go on ahead.
Oh, my wife and I have been watching BattleBots. It's on Max. It's so much fun. There's so much drama. We have a running gag is the announcer's name is Farouk, and he is a very boxer announcy voice. And each season we always go did they hire a writer this season? And you could tell when they did. It was either they have a really bad writer, and Farouk is the best actor in the world for putting 12,000% behind his announcement and the little build-up stories. So there'll be Valkyrie is one of the robots, and he'll hum the Valkyrie theme, then go, it's Valkyrie, and it's he is. Sometimes they're on point, but then sometimes he'll just be this one killed your mother on her way to grandma's house. It's Torchadile, and you're just what the fuck, dude?
Correct me if I'm wrong, or I might be. I think that's a wrestler, or used to be a wrestler.
Yeah, Farouk was part of the Nation of Domination.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, and one of the announcers, Kenny Florian, I guess was a UFC fighter. I've never heard anyone who likes UFC talk about him, so I think I know him as the robot announcer, and so like whatever. I don't know. He could have been in the UFC for all I know.
Well, hey, not speaking of UFC, if you care at all, there's a YouTube channel I watch a lot. Well, I've started getting into about the UFC called. The guy's name is Napoleon Blown Apart. Like, yeah,
that's funny.
That is a porn name.
Yes, that is. That sounds like one.
Yeah, and he does like essays and whatnot and retrospectives of different UFC stuff. Like he had a whole 2-part retrospective on the Ultimate Fighter, that old reality show, and it's just his style is just super fun, super loose, and very funny. I recommend it.
I didn't even know BattleBots was still going on.
Oh, my friend, it is so good, and the judges suck. Like, if any decision ever goes to the judges, it's like fuck. Like you don't know what's going to happen. They could totally throw this in a way that you didn't think it was going to. But also, thank you for letting for this. I need to get the "boo this man" sound for my soundboard. So for next time when I hear a horrible name like what Napoleon Blown Apart, like that is so good and so awful.
Yes, on YouTube. That is the channel's name.
That's hilarious. All right, and I think we start wrapping this up. Blair, where can we find you at?
I'm not really active on many things right now. I guess I'm on most things. You can on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads. I bounce around all of them. I guess Twitter is still the one I use the most, even though nothing gets seen. You can read my work whenever I publish it, which hasn't been of much frequency lately, on comicbookvideogames.com. There's lots of reviews, interviews, and things there you can check out while you're waiting for me to say put up a Suicide Squad review. You can also go on Facebook and follow the Comic Book Video Games Facebook page, where I'll post new articles, or when a friend puts up something like I'm assuming Diego Rivera will have a Suicide Squad review up for me, so I'll share links to stuff like that too.
All right. And Carson, where can we find you at?
Yeah, I just started I started streaming again under alias Desiree Corruption, DER.
There'll be a
Corruption
link in the show notes.
Yeah, there'll be a link. Corruption with a K on Twitter. We got on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Twitch. I've started streaming Mondays, modern stuff, and every day is a different thing. I don't want to go over it all the time, but I am using a PNG Tuber avatar, so.
Okay, I found you. There'll be a link in the show notes for you, for people that want to follow you on Twitch.
Yeah.
And Kody, where we'll find you at?
Well, hey everybody. My name is Kody, and I've started my, I think, 17th try at content creation. It's Night Owl Gaming on YouTube. I've been doing like just actually minutes before we started recording this. I just put up a video about controllers that I've used and kind of like the modern analogs that I use to play games from my past. So I try to integrate like history from pop culture of the time that I'm discussing. And I also try to talk about topics in a slightly different way. So, for example, I did a Advanced Wars review of the remake, and I talked about how my experiences as a combat veteran kind of have changed how I view war. Because when the originals came out on the Game Boy, I was in a very Bush leaning conservative Christian home, and so I had a very different idea of what war was like after I went to war. And so, you know, it kind of changes how you think about games. And also, coincidentally, as we talked about on that episode, that game was delayed twice by international conflict. So like it's not saying that they're really connected, but like there is a connection. So it is kind of interesting to kind of think about and talk about those things. And, you know, so I like to talk about stuff like that. And you can find me on YouTube, Blue Sky, because I don't fuck with Twitter anymore, and TikTok as at Night Owl GMNG.
Oh yeah, I want to say I'm also on TikTok as well. Just browsing and whatnot. I haven't done any content for it yet, but I might.
I make squirrel videos from my desk. That's about it.
Hell yeah.
I want to make content for actual it's like short, quick reviews, but that hasn't happened yet. So if you enjoyed this episode or 550 other episodes on Podbean, you can find everything I do. You can search "What Are You Playing" and find the whole catalog of over 3 years of these. So if you want to listen to more of those, go do that. If you want to support the show, we do a Patreon for Little Dog. You vote in our Patreon poll. You will see a link in the show notes to that. Please help us out. We have polls every month so you get to affect the show. We have a Discord. Please join our Discord. Chat with us, please. Need more people. You'll see a link in the show notes to that. I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Elena at Hell Has Fear. You can follow her on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram. You will see a link to her link tree in the show notes, obviously. And give a shout out to Bill Tucker from A Gamer Looks at 40. Definitely go follow him. He started his own podcast years ago at this point, but he's on the show all the time. So definitely go support him. And please check out No Man to Fantasy, another podcast I'm friends with and work with, and Nintendo Main podcast. Trace.
Sorry, go ahead.
And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, Squirrel Videos, and YouTube audio only. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time.
Right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.